Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a blessed Sunday. And in the news this morning for March 17, 2024, residents are cowering in fear following spate of recent murders. When operatives from the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Investigations Branch swooped down on the volatile Greenchill community in Westmorland in 2018 and arrested 27 men and women linked to the King Valley Gang, law-abiding citizens breathed an overdue sigh of relief, thinking the nightmare was over. In the lead up to the raid, the community was a hotbed of lawlessness, having developed the dubious reputation of being a haven for gun running, extortion, lottery scamming, and contract killings. However, after 4 years of relative peace, the community has once again exploded in chaos, recording 5 murders in a 72-hour span last week as gangsters aligned to the resurgent King Valley Gang and the members of the emerging Anti-Posse Gang traded bullets in their feud over the spoils of criminal activities. It is the worst I have ever seen the violence in Greenchill. It is the worst I've ever seen the violence in Greenchill. These gangsters are armed to the teeth with powerful handguns and rifles, and they are ready to kill each other around the clock, a former educator told the news last week. Sometimes when I hear the shots firing, I just roll under my bed and pray, because I doubt my concrete walls can withstand those high-velocity bullets. This past Tuesday, the administrators at the Greenchill Primary and the Greenchill High Schools were forced to suspend the classes and send home students after reports surfaced that the gangsters were planning to shoot up one of the schools in the stronghold of one of the gangs. In a bid to stem the carnage, a strong contingent of police and military personnel were deployed to the area. They were supported by aerial surveillance. Since then, there has been a tense calm, but residents remain worried as the gangsters are still on the loose in the community. As far as I see, bringing in the soldiers and police will not make a difference, said Juliet Reynolds, whose bike repairman's son Norman Shortman, backridden, was murdered in broad daylight 6 days ago. These men are dangerous. Once they want you dead, they are going to come and get you. While Greenchill is the epicenter of the current violence, residents in the parish, including the capital Savannah Lamar and Little London, are wary of the situation as criminals regularly move from community to community when they come under pressure from the security forces. A policeman who asked not to be identified told the news that many of the faces he is seeing in the communities across Westmorland are familiar faces from the underworld in St. James, where he was stationed before being transferred to Westmorland. A lot of the guys who are here creating mayhem are from volatile communities in St. James, said the policeman. When they come under pressure in St. James, their friends in Westmorland encourage them to come here. These guys are usually seasoned in lottery scamming and committing murders, and are the ones that do the most of the reprisal killings because they are not well known. Since 2017, Westmorland has been like a tinderbox, regularly seen feuding between gangs based in sections of Savannah Lamar, the home turf of the Darling Street and the Dexter Street gangs, Little London and the Greenchill, which was once totally dominated by the King Valley Gang. What is different with Westmorland is we have a proliferation of scammers who are good at what they do, said Assistant Commissioner of Police Clifford Chambers in a 2023 interview with the news. Through the use of side roads, back roads, and intervals, they have ways and means to get around the entire parish without touching the main road. Westmorland's Custos, Reverend Hartley Perrin, who was quite vocal in the call for the state of public emergency, which was declared in the parish in May 2019, remains adamant that the cycle of violence must stop. In his 2023 Christmas message, he quoted from Bob Marley's hit song Crazy Bald Head, calling for the crazy gangsters and the scammers to be chased out of the parish. The lure created by the ill-gotten financial spin-off from criminal activities, especially lottery scamming, has been taking a heavy toll on the sports and education sectors in the parish. Last year, Michael Woolery, whose excellent track program at Petersfield High School created a world champion in Jamaica's quarter-mile, Anthony Watson, bemoaned the fact that many of his gifted athletes who should be preparing for the Issa Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Championships had quit school to pursue lottery scamming. In recent years, Everton Tomlinson, the president of the Westmorland Football Association, has been lamenting the fact that many of the parish's gifted young footballers have moved away from sports to embrace a life of crime. He noted that he had attended the funeral of many of those youngsters who were killed in gang feuding. We are keeping our football programs alive in the hope that we might be able to use sports to save the next generation if we are not able to pull back those who have strayed, Tomlinson said. Sports gave me an opportunity to make something out of my life, and I am committed to help to do the same for any youngster who wanted to do the same. With sugarcane production, which was once the lifeblood of communities like Green Hill, practically non-existent, and the tourism sector in Negril only able to absorb a limited number of young people, the great fear in the parish is that unless new legitimate opportunities are found, students graduating from schools such as Mannings, Godfrey Stewart High, Green Hill High, and the Frome Technical may be drawn into a life of crime. I would like to see some call centers established in Westmorland. We hear that the business process outsourcing sector is the fastest growing sector in Jamaica, so why not give us a piece of that pie, said Diana Smith, who travels daily to Montego Bay to work at a call center. We have many bright young people in this parish who would do well in that sector. Jamaican claims to have been swindled out of pay in US, then deported. A Jamaican man who claimed to have been swindled out of his pay then had the police called on him, causing him to be arrested and eventually deported, is seeking to get justice in that country. Ron Campbell, 50, of a St. Andrew address, had been living in the US since 2017 when he got married. He became eligible to work there in 2020 after applying for his green card. Campbell's run-in with the law started in August 2022 while he was living in Indiana after he was contracted to install windows at a building in West Valley's Salt Lake City, Utah. He said he drove 1,600 miles with 2 workers to complete the work. Campbell said prior to taking the job, the parties agreed that a payment would be made per window. However, he said after the work was completed, the beneficiaries of the work refused to pay the outstanding amount of US $36,000. He said instead the persons wanted to pay him by the hour, which would have reduced what they initially agreed on by more than a half. He said he called the police, who told him that they could not force them to pay him. Campbell said he was then unable to leave the state to go back home in Indiana, and he and one of his workers were stranded in Utah with them sleeping in his truck. In September, Campbell found work in Utah at a construction firm in a bid to earn money to get back home. On September 6, he reportedly received a text from the persons who owed him for the installation of the windows, informing him that they would send him $1,200 to get him back to Indiana. However, the following day, September 7, he was informed that he would get $1,500 and that would be the final payment for the installation of the windows. Campbell, who was then living 90 miles from West Valley, said he was given a check for US $1,500 and a document for him to sign, agreeing to it as the final payment. He said he did not sign the document, and after speaking with his new employer, he was given time to go and sort out his situation in West Valley. Campbell said he informed the persons who owed him money that he would be coming there on September to discuss his payment. According to documents filed in Utah Court of Appeals, Mr. Campbell decided to call the police because there was going to be trouble in Salt Lake City and he wanted an escort. He met the police in Brigham City and they arrested him. He was released on September 21, 2022 and rearrested the same day after he went to collect his truck and other belongings from the police. Campbell was charged with stalking, electronic communications harassment, and the threat of terrorism. He was given a public defender for his trial, but he did not think the lawyer was doing a good job. He told the court as much during his trial in February 2023 and that he wanted to represent himself. He was tried and convicted of stalking and electronic communications harassment, but acquitted on the charge of threat of terrorism. He said he was removed from the country shortly after his conviction, which slowed his appeal process. In his appeal, Campbell's lawyer Emily Adams petitioned the court to reverse his convictions because the district court had applied the wrong legal standard in response to his invocation of his right to self-representation. According to the court document, Mr. Campbell timely and unequivocally invoked his right at a pretrial hearing, and rather than assess whether Mr. Campbell's waiver to his right to counsel was knowing and voluntary, the district court told Mr. Campbell he was overreacting. The court's failure to grant Mr. Campbell's waiver resulted in him continuing to be represented after he had waived his right to counsel. Campbell said he wants to get justice as he was swindled out of his money and then deported. However, the West Valley Police reported on September 8, 2022 that Campbell was arrested by the Brigham Police after the Jamaican called them to say he was homicidal and that he was on his way to his former employers. They said that Campbell, shortly before heading to West Valley, had sent threatening text messages to his former employers. The police said the offices of his former employers were closed and there were police posted in the area in response to the alleged threats from Campbell.